My name is Emilio. I am a PhD student in economics at the University of Zurich. Let me tell you a story about coffee. Coffee is the most beverage commodity traded in the world. Now, it is mostly consumed by developed countries, especially in North America and in Europe. But it is produced in mostly low-income and middle-income countries in the global south. Some of these countries, like Guatemala, have 10% of their total active labor force dedicated to the coffee sector. Now, this clear connection between the demand from developed countries and the supply from developing countries creates a dependency by the producers from the change in preferences in the developed countries. And if we look in the past 20 years, there has been a clear demand by consumers, especially in the food industry, for more environmentally friendly products. This has translated into a proliferation of organic, bio, and eco certifications, which forbids farmers from using chemical, pesticides, and fertilizers. Now, because this is a very integrated system, the certification translates also to some regulations for the producers. One question we might ask ourselves is, what are the consequences for the producers? And there have been many consequences for the environment. Positive impacts for the environment have been studied and proposed. But I would like today to talk to you about another consequences which might be unintended, which is the spread of crop diseases. Especially in the coffee sector, there is a very well-known disease known as the coffee leaf rust, which spread all over the globe and reached Central America in 2013. And so we went to the field to understand whether farmers were aware of these possible unintended consequences of the organic movement. And we noticed that farmers made up their mind based on a financial reasoning that did not take into account this possible risk. And so what we observed in the data, after we tested in Guatemala, we observed that actually those areas with a higher exposure to organic trade were indeed performing more organic farming, and those areas also experience a higher intensity of the spread of this disease. Now, this had some quite stark long-term consequences. For instance, if we look at the emigration rates in those areas. And especially we noticed that in those areas with high organic farming shares, those areas experienced twice as many total immigrants. And if we look at in this context, international immigrants are mostly going to the US. It is still unclear whether this has an overall positive or negative income effect, but we can all agree that organic certification should take into account also this unintended negative consequences and maybe provide a system of monitoring for the spread of these crop diseases.